Hey, today from the heavy metal perspective we are comparing the MXR carbon copy analog delay to the MIFX Lofi delay. Alright, this is actually the second one I've had of these. The first one I think I had for maybe 6 months, and for whatever reason it stopped working. The light would come on, I think, and that was about it. I took it back to the shop where I got it from. Straight swap, no questions asked. This is one I've had ever since. Done a few gigs on this one. Got the modulation, and a bit of a downer about this one is to adjust the modulation effect you've got to take the bass plate off, and there's 2 internal trim pots in there to adjust that. Never really had a problem with it. I think it was just a case of I've had it that long. Geez, what? 8 years now? 8.5 years I've had it for? Yeah, it's about 8.5 years. And just wanted something a little bit different. I've always toyed with the idea of getting a reverb, just never really sort of got around to it. Then a few months ago, this guy came up for sale second hand on one of the local Facebook groups. And I've had my eye on one for a while, and the price was right, so $100. Yeah, picked it up, and that was that. So you can already tell just by looking at it, this has a lot more knobs and dials than that one. One thing I do like about this one is it's really simple. 3 knobs, 2 internal, which is a bit of a pain because you've got to take the bass plate off, especially if you've got it velcroed down like I do with mine. A little bit of a pain, but it's not the end of the world. Upside about this one is it has some more features, and everything's on the front. You don't have to take the bass plate off to adjust anything. A bit darker sounding, a little bit brighter sounding. Now if we start going through some of the stuff here, I'll deliberately go to a clean sound, which I don't normally do with these videos. I'm also using, not that you're really going to see it, my green EC1000 with blackouts. So one of the first things you're going to hear with this pedal, or one of the first, you've got these 3 little like mini switches. Is this basically, you'll go from, I think, triangular to square wave, and it's got a bit of a throb to the modulation. I don't really like that, so I tend to stay on that side. Then you've got hi-fi, Lofi. You can hear it's a lot darker, a bit brighter. And what's this one? Oh, this one. This is probably one of my favourites. Your trails. So I really do prefer it with the trails on. So when I'll apologise now if that's too loud too, alright? That's what I've always wanted from that. So big plus right there. Okay, so let's get into the comparison. So it's same rig as always. Tube zone, Boss equalizer, and a noise gate into my 59800. Okay, so let's put everything. Well, actually, let's explain what we've got here. We've got a mix control, regeneration, so how many repeats, and your delay time, and your modulation. Over here, we've got time, so how long the delay is. So we've got that, we've got our repeats, the triangular or square wave for the modulation, we've got the hi-fi, lo-fi, and then the trails. That light is blinding. What's this one? Rate, and depth for the chorus in this one. And then you got a level and a input. So if you've got really high output pickups like the blackouts, you maybe want to turn it down just so it doesn't clip the effect. And then yeah, your level control. So that's about it. So what we'll do, we'll turn everything up to half. Seems like a fair place to start. Just thinking. Okay. So, like I said, I'll apologise now if it comes out too late. But one thing I really like using a delay for is to kind of fill in the gaps if I'm doing something, you know, kind of slow, or just generally for lead work. So if I'm doing a nice bend, without it, it's kind of dry. So I'll do that again. Same idea. Now, one thing to note as well, like I said, you can hear that this one is a lot darker. If I move this over to the Lofi, let's see. This is the first time I've actually plugged them in together. And it tends to sit behind the note a bit more, it's not as up front. Personally, I prefer the high. One thing to note as well, the switch on this one feels a lot nicer, it's a bit firmer. This one's a lot softer, so if you're wearing a pair of boots or something, you know, may not really make a difference. Okay, so both of these go to about 600 milliseconds, so let's go maximum. Huh, I don't know if you can hear that. Huh, okay. So there's a little noise going on right now. We'll turn the noise gate off. Okay. Alright, so, carbon copy. Now that's one thing I've always noticed with the carbon copy. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's that little high-pitched noise as soon as I max out the delay. Listen to this. Goes away. Comes back. And it changes with the delay. Alright, so maximum delay carbon copy. There you go. That horrible noise. Okay, so let's bring this back down half. Actually, let's go a quarter, because if I bring it all the way down, you're probably not going to hear it. So a quarter of the delay time. You actually don't even hear it, so it's more of a chorusing effect. It's just there, but compared to that, big difference right there. The time control on this one seems to have a much wider sweep, so it'll go from nothing to, you know, you've got a lot more sweep. The carbon copy seems to be a bit more dramatic. Put it back down. Go to the Lofi. Getting a bit of slap back there. Up to half. 3/4. So it's a lot finer, the time control on this. So I suppose that's kind of personal preference whether you like that sort of thing. Let's go to the repeats. The repeats is interesting because these things will just oscillate, which I don't want to do in the house right now. So kind of just get 1.5 repeats. Similar sort of effect. Halfway, carbon copy. It's kind of nice. Halfway, Lofi. This one's already oscillating. It will go into oscillation a shitload quicker than this guy, so that's probably as far as we're going to go. Look, I haven't even played anything yet. That's the oscillation thing is really cool. I used to do it all the time at the end of a gig, on the carbon copy, because that's what I was using at the time. Just crank everything up and go from one extreme to the next. I'm amazed. I'm amazed I never blew any PA speakers or anything like that. Or sound guys didn't lose their minds at me. So what are we doing? The regeneration. So carbon copy. Now it's going to start freaking out. Oh, that's not too bad. That. Now anyway, but so let's go everything up at half. Now let's go without any modulation. Now I don't even go with this. Turn these both off. You may not even hear a difference here. With it. Pretty subtle. You'll definitely notice it on this guy. Especially on the clean setting, you will hear that flutter. You can hear it moving. Hear that bouncy sort of effect. So, don't really like that too much about this guy. So if I keep the rate down, I actually keep the effect up. And geez, probably about it really. One thing that, like I said, I've been enjoying about these is just using them to kind of fill in the gaps. So if I go back to the carbon copy, so if I shorten that. Now I did a video a while ago on almost getting, because Randy Rhoads would triple track his leads, double track his leads, using this pedal to get that type of sound. So using a very, very short delay. back to the Lofi. So just this delay time moves a lot quicker than the one on the carbon copy. So I think because I've got the depth so far up on this guy, it's kind of like freaking out a little bit. Oh, there we go. It's one thing. That's another thing with this guy too. Some of the dials almost seem to interact. So I'll turn that back up now. Back to the clean. That's some weird shit. If I go back to this side. It's weird. So you get that almost chorusy effect. Keep the rate down. Go back to this guy. That's what I like with my delays. So, in conclusion, I prefer this guy. I do prefer the sound of this one. I enjoy the simplicity of this one. So, depends what you want. If you want a darker, well, actually this will do the darker sounds as well. So let's actually make a direct comparison there. Just keeping it simple, just an A chord. So what we'll do, let's turn, so the mix is halfway up. Alright, let's turn those up. Let's try that again. So that's carbon copy. Interesting. So, like I said, in closing, I like the simplicity of this guy. I like the fact that this one's a little bit brighter. If you're willing to spend a bit more time with this effect, I think it's a much nicer sounding effect. This one's a little bit of a one-trick pony. You don't quite have the options that this guy does. Plus, with this one, when you turn it off, you can still have the trails going even after you've turned the pedal off. So I might just have a quick fiddle and we'll listen to the differences, okay? Both of them. It's carbon copy. Oh, that's on the low, on the high setting. Turn that back down. Price wise, I'm not too sure what the difference is on these guys. These are probably a little less mass produced than these guys. And these are made here, well, I'm not in Sydney, I'm in Melbourne. These are made in Sydney, Australia. Gonna say the USA, but I could be wrong. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll catch you all later.